information is given to him or her, and slowly it starts learning things. So information is the, apart from food and other things, without information nobody can grow. If you want, like for example, like in your circulatory system, anything which happens in our body, it goes through the nervous information system. If suppose you hurt your finger, so you, that message is sent to your brain and then you take the action. Only thing, it is so promptly it happens that you don't think that way, but actually that is happening. So in any organization also, it cannot grow if it does not have a good information system. It should know what the consumers want, what features they want, how many, what is the demand. So all this information, okay, it comes through data. Data is the first thing. Data, from data, that is processed and it has been turned into information. For example, I want to install a lift in my building. Now I have to collect data. On the average, I take a sample. You cannot have a survey, but you can take a sample and see how many people are using that particular building, how many people are entering that particular building, and you take the weight of a sample. From that you get the data and average weight. So you should know that should be the carrying capacity of the lift. So data has been converted into information, and accordingly you take the decision. As a manager, what is your basic duty? You have to take decision, and decision cannot be taken in, like you don't have a divya drishti, that one day you just close your eyes and you'll know what is going to happen. That does not happen in real life. That only happens in story tales. So you have to study things, observe things, gather data, process it, and then you take the decision accordingly. Whether you are producing any good or services, you have to have the data about it, and then only you can take decision. So you can say, one of you read it. Can you read it? What is management information system? Excuse me.
I think, ma'am, you need to change the slides. We are seeing only first slide.
Oh, okay, I'm changing it. Can you say it? What is management information system?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Uh, yes, ma'am.
So one of you read it.
An MIS is a system that provides managers necessary information to make decisions, organizations, operation. The MIS uh, MIS
Gathers data.
gathers data, various sources and processes uh, it to provide information tailored to the managers and that
There.
their needs.
So, like suppose you want to start a business. What type of business? Business is a very general term. So, what is the requirement of that place? Suppose you want to start a gym. Now, first of all, you have to see what is the demand for gym. These days, most of the youngsters have joined one gym or other. That is, it is very much in demand. But then you have to see in which locality. Suppose there is already a couple of gyms in one locality and you start another one, the chances of it getting good clientele will be less, probability will be less. So you choose a place where you will get a good number of people coming to your gym. Because what is your objective? Whatever you are doing, You are doing it for profit. That is your earning. And it is your earning plus again whatever you want to invest further in your business. So for all these things, profit is important. Whatever you have invested plus something more than that. So you have to get data information about everything regarding the business which you are going to start. Suppose you are already running a business, then also there's so much of competition these days. So you should know what your competitors are doing, what is the latest trend in technology, what is the want and need of the consumers, all these things. And for this you need data, you need that which will be transformed into information which you will be taking to develop your business further. Again, continue.
While business use different types of MIS, they all share one common goal: to provide managers with the information to make better decisions. In today's fast-paced business environment, having access to, ma'am, please down the slide, ma'am.
Just 1 second.
Having access to accurate and timely information is critical for success.
So you can see you whatever you are going to do, you have to have timely information. For example, you take weather prediction. Now, if it is going to rain tomorrow, suppose you are a farmer, so what you will be doing tomorrow will depend upon the situation of the weather, whether it is going to rain or it is going to be sunny. According till you make your plans, and you have to do whatever job you are going to do. Now, for example, you get the prediction a day after. What is the use? Because that is already passed. So getting that data is of no use. So getting the timely information. For example, way back in early 90s, Tata Motors, which was previously known as Telco, had decided to go in for making passenger cars. They were previously making commercial cars and heavy SUVs, but not the passenger car. So for that, they studied the external environment, whether there is a demand for a passenger car or not, what are the requirement of the people, how much they want to pay for the car, what features they want in the car, plus whether, and also the internal environment, whether they had the capacity, whether they had the know-how, whether they had the technology to produce that car. So all these decisions, whichever they took at that point of time, depended upon data and information. You can use these two words interchangeably, but it is process data, which is information. So and especially in some field, for example, if you are in fashion industry, things change very fast. Every season, the fashion changes, the color design changes. So you have to be in tune with it. And this is where computerization helps you, because computerization means the amount of data which you can handle, the speed with which you can handle, the amount of interacting variables can be huge. Like manually, even if you can handle it, it will be very small. By the time you finish the calculation, it will take so much of time that it is of no use. So you have to use computers. It is not that MIS was not there when computers were not there. People were gathering data and they were using it. They were using it for their whatever work they were doing, whether they were managing a small shop or they were managing something big. But everyone needs data. A child also needs the data, otherwise that child will not grow. For example, if I tightly bind your finger, what will happen? Blood supply will stop going to that place, and that place will become numb. Like today, uh, in our, especially in Indian community, there is so many. Why some people are so educated and doing well in life, and some why? It was not that humans were all created equal, but then data was stopped being passed to them. They were not allowed to study. They were not allowed to do so many things, and that is why today we have so much problem with reservation, because people who are already in a better position, if things are given to them in a platter, they'll be losing it. So there is another type of conflict which is going on. But it is the data, which is the information which helps you to grow and achieve whatever you are looking forward to. Even our daily life, if if you are not educated, you would have not come to know about so many things. So what is education? Education is also data is being processed and given to you. You are made to realize so many things. You are made to question so many things. So data and information is essential to us in any phase of our life. Whether you are a child, whether you are a grown up, whether you are old. Even at this age, I am learning so many things, especially when the technology is changing so fast. Because when we were students, we were not exposed to computers. Even the manual computers were not there. But gradually, as you grow, you new technology comes, and you know to survive, you have to know those things. So it is always good to keep on upgrading yourself. And for that, you need data, and accordingly, you can take decision. If you don't know, you won't be able to keep pace with the moving world. Whether it is for your personal use or whether you are using it for business, the problem is you have to take decision, and for that decision you need data. Without that, you cannot take any decision. So this picture shows you management. Man, we are interested in see, data and information is used everywhere, but here we are concerned with management information system. Management, information, and systems. These are the three crucial words. What is management? Read it. Whoever is reading it.
Ma'am, management is various management functions, planning, organizing, and control. And information is data collecting regarding management functions, converting them into information regarding managerial decision making. Systems is doing things in a systematic way, integrating the managerial functions for achieving organizational goals.
So these, after all, as a manager, what is your goal? Whatever is the top management has decided, whether you want to produce something, then how much you want to produce, for that what all things you will be requiring. For all these things you need data. For example, you take a child which has no experience about a burning flame, so it does not know. It is attracted by the flame because it is sparkling, and it attracts it, but it does not know whether when it touches it, whether it will hurt it or it will delight him. So if he does not do anything, he'll go and touch it because he is being attracted by it. Once he touches it, that information is stored in his brain. And from the next time, he will not touch it. Maybe sometimes he'll become so scared that he'll stop touching anything which is bright. Like it is said ना कि हिंदी में कहते हैं ना कि दूध का जला छाछ भी फूक फूक कर पीता है. तो information, that information is stored in your brain, and then you retrieve it and you take further decision based on that. So in management also, what is the basic functions of a manager? He's planning, he's organizing, and he's controlling. He's planning how things will be done. Then he is organizing, right, scheduling it, routing it, and organizing the whole thing. Then he sees whether things are moving according to the way things were planned and organized. If it is not, that is controlling. So if it is not moving, then why it is not moving? Then taking some corrective measure. So for all these things, for planning, for organizing, for controlling, you need information. And then only you can take decisions. And to produce something, an integrated approach of everyone is needed. It is not the responsibility of only one single person, or not a single. It is not that a single can make a dent. It is the total responsibility. Like in any organization or any any body, our body also works as a whole. It does not work. Brain is working somewhere, heart is working somewhere, and liver is working somewhere. It is not. Everything is working for your well-being. So even in an organization, everybody is working for producing this thing. The four functional areas which we know are what? Marketing, finance, HR, and operations. So these are the basic four functional areas. So they have to work together, integrating, and then achieving whatever has to be achieved. Every organization will have some goal, whether it is producing something or whether it is doing service. For example, if you're working in a school, a college, hospital, these are all service organization. It is not producing something, but it is, so any system, there is an input, some processing is going on, and then you get the output. So even in a service organization, like whether if you have joined a school, you had some knowledge, now you are gathered more knowledge, and now when you come out, you are a much better person, more knowledgeable, with more skills to do much better in life. So to achieve this, you needed information. This was given to you through your teachers, the books you read, the videos you watched. So there are so many sources of information from where you have gathered the data, and then you have processed in your mind, and then you have come to certain conclusion, and accordingly you have taken a decision. For example, after 12th, you know what is your capability. Suppose you are good in science, somebody is good in creative work, somebody is good in biological science, somebody is good in mathematical sciences. So accordingly they choose their, then you have to see, gather data and see where all these courses are available, which is the best. You have to match your financial constraint with that, and then only you make the final decision. So everywhere we are taking decision based on certain data which has been processed.
Ma'am, I have one question, ma'am.
Yes, ask me.
Ma'am, decision support system is also a part of management information system.
Actually, management information system is for decision making. Why do you need the information? यदि आपको डिसीजन ही नहीं लेना है तो अब इंफॉर्मेशन की क्या जरूरत है? जैसे एक छोटा बच्चा भी जब वो कोई चमकता हुआ चीज देखता है और उसको छूता है, उसका हाथ जल गया तो नहीं छुएगा.
Yes, ma'am.
तो ही और शी इज टेकिंग अ डिसीजन कि छूना चाहिए कि नहीं छूना चाहिए. ये छोटी सी बात है, मगर डिसीजन तो लिया ना.
Yes, ma'am.
तो यू हैव टू नो. तुम अब बैठे बैठे तो बहुत ख्वाब देखे जा सकते हैं, बट व्हेन यू कम डाउन at the ground level, you have to see what you can do and what environment is offering you, and then you have to match these two things. और तभी फिर कोई डिसीजन आप ले सकते हैं.
Yes, ma'am.
Like everybody wants to do well in life, and everybody is working under certain constraints. तो जो भी हम डिसीजन लेते हैं और उसका फिर हम we try to achieve it, तो ऑप्टिमल लेवल जब हम अचीव करते हैं तो इसका मतलब है कि we have taken the constraints also into consideration. जैसे constraints आपका चेंज हो जाएगा तो शायद रिजल्ट भी चेंज हो जाएगा. एक बच्चा है, उसके घर में कुछ ऐसे प्रॉब्लम्स हैं कि वो पढ़ाई में मन नहीं लगा सकता. इवन दैट चाइल्ड इज वेरी इंटेलिजेंट, मगर कुछ ऐसा घर का माहौल है कि नहीं पढ़ पा रहा है, तो नेचुरली उसका तो रिजल्ट खराब ही होगा ना. कोई लड़का है बहुत अच्छा नहीं है, बहुत तेज नहीं है, मगर उसको बहुत अच्छा एनवायरनमेंट मिला है, सब लोग उसके घर वाले कोऑपरेट कर रहे हैं, वो पढ़ रहा है, तो ठीक है, मेहनत करके वो अच्छा रिजल्ट ले आ रहा है. तो एवरीबडी इज ट्राइंग टू अचीव समथिंग, but we are all under certain constraints. There's a whole branch. Oh, sorry. There's a whole branch of management known as operations research, where we take a function, optimal function, which has to be either maximized or minimized, but under certain constraint. So that is life. Management is part of our life. How we manage our things, how we manage our business, how we manage our house, how everything. So management is both a science as well as a art. Because see, science, it tells you, do this, do this, do this. But how to blend that, that is an art. आपको जैसे दो लोगों को हम पढ़ा रहे हैं, तो दोनों का रिजल्ट शायद अलग अलग होगा. पढ़ा तो हम सेम ही रहे हैं, मगर हाउ दैट पर्सन यूजेस इट एंड हाउ इट makes tries to find out the result, that makes the difference. What is the significance? I hope I'm clear what I'm saying.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
Yes, ma'am.
like for example, पैरालिसिस में क्या होता है, आपका नर्वस सिस्टम कहीं का ब्रेक डाउन कर गया, you are not getting any information from that particular part of your body, so that part becomes paralytic. अभी आज जैसा आज का माहौल जैसा है कि you have multinationals, अब उनके ऑफिस ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड फैले हुए हैं. So if they suppose they are not getting information about one of their office, then what will happen? That office will be affected. It will become, it is as good as being paralytic. उसको, so information gives you the blood which is required to build up that particular organization. Just read this. Who, anyone else? MS is defined as the
MIS is defined as the field of management where timely and reliable information plays a very important role. This information is obtained through a logical and well-structured method of collecting information and processing of the collected information, which helps the decision makers in carrying out the decisions. MIS is a very significant these days because the term information is considered equally important to the 4M have revealed to the business industry, namely money, material, men and machines.
So even if you have men, money, material, everything, but you don't have the information how to use those things, then what is the requirement of the market? How many units are required? So you have to match this supply and demand. how much you need to buy the raw material to produce it, all the information regarding the operation through which you'll be achieving your goal. So information is as important as these M's. Like in money, sometimes it is 5M method is also used. What method to use? Because getting the things done can be done through various methods. So if you don't have the information, which is the best method, which is the most uh, or the cheapest, whatever is your goal. Suppose you want to be competitive in the market, so what you try, mainly what they try to do, uh, give something at the cheapest cost but the best quality. Quality has to be maintained and cost has to be at the lowest level. So these two things, how to do it? How to do it that things are done most effectively and efficiently. Effectively means you're doing the right thing and also in the right way. Like if you suppose you don't know the method, what will happen? First time you'll make some mistakes, so something will be wasted. Second time might make some other mistake, trial and error. So this way you'll be wasting so many things. And what will happen? This will increase the cost of your product. So it is very good to know everything beforehand before starting actual venture. It is not that even if you know everything, you are bound to make certain mistakes. I'm not talking about that. But as far as possible, one should try to work in the best possible way. And for that, you need information.
The
Continue.
the significance of a planned, analyzed, designed, and maintained MIS is as follows: helps in progress and growth of the business and management infrastructure in increasing business complexities by providing timely, useful, and reliable information. This information is provided to the management for taking quick, rational, and speedy decisions. Helps helps in globalization and liberalization of the organizations that needs to compete not only locally but globally too. MIS assists decision makers in organizations by providing manual management informations at various stages of decision making, whereas MIS, if in the case is not maintained properly, may provide inaccurate or irrelevant information that may prove costly to the organization.
So you can see everybody in whichever cadre you are working, you need information to do your job. And actually, if it is not, it has to be timely and accurate. Because if it is not accurate, maybe the demand is for certain uh, the cross section of certain pipe should be of say uh, so many point some millimeter, but you have produced something else because you had the wrong information. So what will happen? That will be rejected, and then it is rejected. So who will bear the cost? Either the owner will bear the cost, or maybe the next lot, because to make up for that cost, it will sell the next lot in a higher price. So somewhere or other, as far as possible, if you don't have the timely and accurate information, chances of making mistakes and thus making losses is higher. So to avoid these things, timely and accurate information is necessary. And for everyone, whether you are in the top level or you are in the middle level, generally we say that it is not a clear cut like that, but generally we say of three levels: topmost, middle level, and lowest. So everybody needs information for fulfilling his or her work. Uh, Continue.
Nature and scope, MIS has borrowed the management concepts from various disciplines, such as accounting, computing, organizations, management, and operations. Because of this interdisciplinary nature of MIS, it is considered both as an art and science. The nature of management information system is that it can be used for purposes of decision making. This is a system which provides all the necessary information about an organization.
So you can see कि management information system uses information from various both can you see this slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So you can see कि MIS, Management Information System. So it uses information and data from research and design. Research and design. Simulation. Simulation is what? Simulation is working out something. You study कि what is the probability of that happening and actually doing it. You make a model of it and see कि how things will work out. For example, like when before being sent to the space, an astronaut is kept in a simulated atmosphere where the conditions are so that it is the same as it is in the space. Like weightlessness is there. So until and unless the astronaut does not get used to that condition, it won't be able to survive over there. So simulation is so that information is being kept in gathered by the astronaut and they use it when they are in actual space. Similarly, in everything, whether you're producing a car or you're producing, you have to know it through simulation what should be the result so that you can work accordingly. Then what is the operations, how things are moving. Then naturally human resource. Without human resource, nothing can be achieved. After all, everything is being handled by the human resource. In spite of the automation, who is making the software for the automation? Who looks after the automation if something goes wrong? So, in spite of everything, we have not come to that stage that machines has taken our place. It is the people who are thinking, who are designing, who are following. So this is also going to MIS. Then computer science, because today computer is playing a very vital role in designing the MIS, running it, so that people get timely and accurate information. Then planning, how two things have to be done, marketing, finance, research and development, research and design or research and development. So everything it has contributed to MIS and MIS has contributed to everything. So what are the objectives of MIS? Just read it.
Processing data. The captured data is processed into information needed for planning, organizing, coordinating, directing, and controlling functionalities at strategic, tactical, and operational level. Processing data means performing calculations with data, sorting data, classifying data, summarizing data. Information storage. Information or processed data need to be stored for future use. Information retrieval. The system should be able to retrieve this information from the storage as and when required by various users. Information propagation. Information or the finished product of the MIS should be circulated to its users periodically using the organizational network.
Like for example, today, if you want to, suppose the police wants to know whether this, how many road accidents happened on this particular date. So today, because the information is being stored in electronic media record, immediately By searching that, they know okay, and all these things have been designed by human being. How that, in what form, whether it has to be in tabular form, whether it has to be in network form, whether it has to be in hierarchical form. So it has been designed so that you can easily retrieve the data. If you are not getting the retrieved data in time, what is the use? You have to take certain decision. Suppose somebody says ki, somebody has been caught by the police, and that fellow says on that particular day I was sick, or I had an accident, or whatever it is, I was in the hospital. So if data is maintained properly by the hospital, the police can easily check and see whether that person was there or not. Today, information system is also being used in the health center, so that it becomes easier for the doctors to take corrective action regarding any disease. They know what are the symptoms, how many patients have been affected by it, what medicine should be given. So all this information helps them in making decision. So in the processing stage, what they do is some calculation has to be done. For example, when you go to today, whenever you go to a mall, they ask you for your mobile number. Why do they want? If anything similar happens, immediately that information is passed to you, so that you can take the benefit of any new offerings which they have. Plus, they also have the data, how many people had come, what they had bought, and then they take accordingly. They have this past data, so accordingly they can plan their future. So some calculation has to be done, some sorting of data. 100 people had come and bought this color, 200 people had bought this color. Suppose you are manufacturing car, so you can analyze that and see what is the favorite color, how many pieces of each color you can match it with the probability. Suppose the highest probability was for white car, so when you are producing cars, you will also produce cars in white color, the maximum number. Suppose some very funky color, the demand is very low. This you can get by analyzing data. And then you can classify also. Classification can be on economic level, or can be on gender level, or can be on urban rural level, the place of where you dwell, and then summarizing and finding out on the average, how many people want this, how many people want that, so everything. So this is the processing that has been going on in the data. Then you have to store this data in such a way that when you need it, it is retrieved. Maybe you might need this data for some legal purpose. Somebody comes and accuses you of something, then you can, if you have the data that you have not done it, then you can show it to that person. Or maybe for some other future work, for whether similar things were done in the past, then if this problem had come, then what solutions you had taken. So all these things will help you in taking your decision. And then naturally propagating it. Wherever it is needed, it has to be there. Otherwise, what is the use? If it is not propagated, it is kept. Like earlier, only very few people, very few castes were allowed to study. They kept all the data to themselves. So they developed. Even now, there are so many people, so many teachers also. They will not give you their own notes. So it is not like when we were small, we were said that knowledge is something, the more you spread it, the more you learn. It is something which no thief can steal from you. So data and information is what? When information is processed, it becomes knowledge. So knowledge has to be propagated. Otherwise, the other person will not know what decision to take. It is for the decision making purpose. The knowledge has to pass from one place to other. It has to be propagated. Any questions? Hello?
No, ma'am.
Then you have different types of information. It can be classified into different types. The first is action versus non-action. You read it, then I'll explain one by one.
Yes, ma'am. The information action versus non-action. The information which induces action is called action information. The information which communicates only the status of a situation is no action information. No stock reporting call or purchase action is action information, but the stock ledger showing the store transactions and the stock balances is no action information.
So every information, either it is action or non-action. Suppose, like over here, the two examples are given. There is no stock. That information you read, so you have to buy stock because there is a demand for the stock. So that is, you have to take certain action. Or for example, you come to know that your father is very sick. So what will you do? You'll take immediate action and go and see him, visit him, and come to know why he is sick, what's happened, what has to be done. But suppose you receive this information that your father has reached his destination. Suppose he has gone out and he had to go to his where he has reached. Then you don't have to take any action. You just have that has to be stored with you. Then recurring and versus non-recurring.
Recurring versus non-recurring. The information generated at regular intervals is recurring information. The monthly sales reports, the stock statements, the trial balance, etc. are recurring informations. The financial analysis or the report on the market research study is non-recurring information.
So you have two types of information again, recurring and non-recurring. Recurring, which happens at a regular interval. Some report, monthly report, quarterly report, all these things, and something which happens once in a while, and then like for example, it is given over here, monthly sales reports, the stock statements, the trial balances are all recurring reports. But the financial analysis, it might be once in a yearly, maybe if you take a longer period, that becomes recurring. So every information either can be recurring or non-recurring. Internal versus external.
Internal versus external. The information generated through the internal sources of the organization is termed as internal information, while the information generated through the government reports, the industry surveys, etc., is termed as external information, as the sources of the data are outside the organization.
And you know, for making decision, you need both internal as well as external. You have to know what, like you do SWOT analysis. That is strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. So strength and weakness is your own internal. What strength you have. As I told you, when you are choosing your field, you have to see what are your capabilities, in which field you are good, what are the threats, and what are your weakness. Suppose you want to go, then what you lack, where you should improve upon. So you should know. Then what is the opportunity? After doing this, what will you get? Everybody wants to know. If I'm doing this, what should I get in future? So you should know those things. And also that what threats are there. Suppose who are your competitors? What type of things they are producing? So who are their threat? And then you match these things, and then only you take a decision. Next.
Historical, present, and futuristic. Any information which has been generated in the past is historical information, which is being generated during current season is present information, and any future prediction is future information. For example, past records of an organization are historical information, reports of the ongoing operations are present informations, and any future prediction using statistical or mathematical model is futuristic information.
This is quite clear. So every organization has these three things. Something which has already happened, data has been created, so that is historical. Whatever operation is going on, that is present. And for future, if you make certain prediction, what will be your demand, how much things you should be producing in future. So all these are future information. Yes.
And documentary versus non-documentary. Any information which has been documented somewhere is known as documentary information. For example, information on the walls of caves, journals, books, in-house publications, hard and soft copies from computers, etc. Similarly, any information which is verbal is non-documentary information. For example, information passed from one generation to another verbally, word to mouth advertisement of a product, information moving on the grapevine of an organization.
So everywhere you have both documentary versus non-documentary information. Something which has been written somewhere, even if it is on cave, but that document is there. If, and sometimes there are so many very vital information. For example, like in Indian culture, we never went for patent. वो जो information था कि whether that particular herb or that particular thing has medicinal value, how it should be grown, all these things were non-verbal. And sorry, verbal, not non-verbal, verbal. They were verbal. It was being passed from one generation to another. It was not written somewhere, and nobody had made a claim on it. I have this is my knowledge, and I should get all the benefit from it. It was for everyone. It was to, or there are so many things, how to live, how to dress up, how to behave with your elders. All these are verbal. It is being passed from one generation to another. Or sometimes in advertisement also, word to mouth. You don't have to advertise your, but people like one person likes it, it spreads the message, and others also start buying it. Every time it is not key, it has to be documented. Even non-documentary responses can prove very beneficial. Next.
Formal versus informal. Information generated through an organization is known as information. For example, the financial reports, balance sheets, production plans, etc. Similarly, any information which is not generated formally, like office gossip, is informal information.
Like for example, as it is said कि anything which is documentary तो formal तो हो ही गया, मगर informal है ना कि suppose you have gone to attend some party and there some people are discussing something, so you get an information about, sometimes the information you need about your competitors, you may not get it through formal sources. You have to get it through informal sources. Maybe at some party or somewhere where things were being discussed about it, then you have gathered information about it. So both are very important for your decision making. Next.
Short-term versus long-term information which is required for short-term planning is known as short-term information, whereas information required for long-term planning is known as long-term information. For example, information required for planning a schedule for production will be termed information, whereas the information required for launching a new product will be a long-term or strategic information.
Sometimes, like for example, as I told you about when Tata thought of producing passenger car, so that was long term. And when it actually started, so for every day, what each department had to do, what the finance department had to do, what the operations had to do, what the HR has to do, what the marketing has to do. So this is for a shorter term. When the actual operation was, so we long term we say strategic planning. It is for long period, maybe even 10 to 20 years ahead you plan what you are going to do. For example, like I was a teacher at Banaras Hindu University. So Mahamana had thought about this. So it was his long-term plan. He would build a university which will cater to each and everyone. Each and every type of knowledge will be disseminated over there, and it will be in one. So that was his long-term plan, and then gradually he worked on it and made it a reality. For that, he needed both long-term as well as short-term information.
Yes.
Next.
Control information, reporting the status of an activity through a feedback mechanism is called the control information. When such information shows a deviation from the goal or the objective, it will induce a decision or an action leading to control.
Like, for example, you had planned to complete a particular work in 5 days, but it is taking more than 5 days. Then you have to know why this is happening, because it will affect your whole schedule. जैसे एक प्रोजेक्ट दिया हुआ है and you have project को you have broken it down into different activities, and for each activities you have made a schedule. One activity has to be done first, second, which has to be done simultaneously, how much days or hours or whatever timing you have taken is allotted to each activities, and if they don't are working accordingly, then naturally you will have to take certain corrective act. Maybe the material has not come, maybe the person who's handling that is sick, or it is on he or she is on leave, so that is affecting. So you have to take certain corrective action. So that is known as control information, which will be controlling the scheduling or the working of that particular operation. Next.
The action information, the recurring information, and the internal information are the prime areas of computerization, and they contribute qualitatively to the MIS.
So it is not that computerization, now the external information is also being computerized. So, but they are the basics. From here you start, and gradually, and every information might not be of everything. It can be a combination of all these types. Then we'll be doing information needs, because everybody will not be using the same information. So this is in a tabular form I have shown you information needs of managers according to their position in the organization. Level, you have executive level, you have senior managers, you have middle managers, you have workers. So senior managers, what they do to make strategic long-term decisions, and they are unstructured. Structured means you know exactly you do this, and that. For example, you are making a bill, then it is a structured decision. What will happen? The things you have bought, what is the price of one unit, you multiply it with and then add the total. So whether you do it or the machine does it or anyone else, the answer will be the same. But unstructured decision, when you don't know, suppose you are making a budget, there are so many things you don't know. What will be your future earnings or what will be your future expenditures, but you make a budget. Taking these things into consideration, you make a budget. So that is unstructured, or sometimes it can be semi-structured. So over here, executives, they look at the external environment and see what are the opportunities and the threats. Then they see the internal environment and see what are the strengths and weaknesses. And so everything here is not structured, it is unstructured. And the system which we use is executive support system. System being used is executive support system. The example, like CEO. Then second level is your senior manager. So they make tactical or short-term decision. Like I said, told you about the functional areas. If he's a manager, he's looking after finance, so he'll make short-term decision regarding the finance. If he's in operations, he'll making this short-term decision about the operation of that particular job. If with HR, then what type of human being with what skill, what education level, all these things, they'll be making a short. So here they are semi-structured, and this is known as decision support system. Here are the functional managers: marketing, operations, financials, human resources. Then you have middle managers. They make operational what every month has to be done. The middle manager. How many, suppose you are manufacturing bicycle. So how many bicycles should be manufactured every month? For that, what parts are needed, what type of parts are needed, all those things. So these are more structured decision. And this is actually management information system is also used for this, the structured decision, which, and it is also used for the whole management information system, which includes executive support system, decision support system, and enterprise resource planning. Then at the lowest level are the workers. They make the decision for daily. Today, every day, how much, what work has to be done. These are structured. These are known as transaction support system, or TPS, and the staff will be doing this. So these are the, so everybody does not need the same type of information. According to your position in the organization, your needs will vary from person to person. Yes. Read.
Yes, ma'am. Information as required at different levels of management can be classified as operational, tactical, and strategic. Operational information. Operational information relates to the day-to-day operations of the organization and thus is useful in exercising control over the operations that are repetitive in nature. Since such activities are controlled at lower levels of management, operational information is needed by the lower management. It may be noted that operational information pertains to activities that are easily measurable by specific standards. The operational information mainly relates to current and historical performance and is based primarily on internal sources of data. The predictive element is operational information is quite low, and if at all it is there, it is a short-term horizon. For example, the information regarding the cash position on day-to-day basis is monitored and controlled at the lower levels of management. Similarly, in marketing function, daily and weekly sales information is used by lower level managers to monitor the performance of the sales force.
So you can see at operational level, it is the daily. At the lower level, it is for short term, daily. Daily, what has to be done? Whether it is uh, daily uh, requirement of the various materials or the monetary requirement, whatever it is at the daily, and it is a structured thing. They are being given by the higher level to work it in that particular specific way. Then you have the tactical level. I don't know, there's some problem.
I'm not able to see.
You are not able to see it. It is not coming on the screen. It is not. I don't know. There might be some technical problem. Tactical information.
Tactical information helps middle level managers allocating resources and establishing controls to implement the top level plans of the organization. For example, information regarding the alternative sources of funds and their uses. In the short run, opportunities for deployment of surplus funds in short term securities, etc., may be required at the middle levels of management. The tactical information is generally predictive, focusing on short term trends. It may be partly current and partly historical and may come from internal as well as external sources.
So at the middle level, where you have the functional managers, how much money they'll be using, what type of people they'll be using, what type of operation has to be done, what type of marketing has to be done. All these things are for a shorter period compared to your long term planning or strategic planning. Then strategic information.
Strategic information, while the operational information is needed to find out how the given activity can be performed better, strategic information is needed for making choices among the business options. The strategic information helps in identifying and evaluating these options so that a manager makes informed choices which are different from the competitors and the limitations of what the rivals are doing or planning to do. Such choices are made by leaders only. Strategic information is used by managers to define goals and priorities, initiate new programs, and develop policies for acquisition and use of corporate resources. For example, information regarding the long term needs of funds for ongoing and future projects of the company may be used by top level managers in taking decisions regarding going public or approaching financial institutions for term loan. Strategic information is predictive in nature, relies heavily on external sources of data, such as long term perspective, and is mostly summary form. It may sometimes include what if scenarios However, the strategic information is not only external information. For long, it was believed that strategic information is basically information regarding the external environment. However, it is now well recognized that the internal factors are equally responsible for success or failures of strategies, and thus, internal information is also required for strategic decision making.
So you can, as I've already told you, you have to match both external and internal. What is the demand and what you can do? Then only you will be successful. Whether you are planning for your own life or you're planning for your business or you're working somewhere, you are the CEO. So you have to, so both external and internal information is very useful for making strategic planning, because this is for the longer period. You have to have a vision कि what you want to achieve, how you want to achieve, what are your value systems. कि खाली करना ही नहीं है, there should be certain value system on which you should achieve. ये नहीं है कि आपको बस प्रॉफिट कमाना है तो कुछ भी कर लीजिए, कुछ भी तरीका. ये क्या होता है ना, लॉन्ग रन में नहीं काम देता है. If you look at all the big companies which are running there for more than 100 years, all them have very solid value system, what they want to do, how they want to do, because that will build your goodwill. So all these things will come into your strategic planning. If you don't have these things, your strategic planning will not be good enough to produce what you actually want to produce.
Ma'am, in strategic planning, we also do SWOT analysis also. That is the...
So I told you the SWOT analysis: strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats. So strength and weakness is internal. What is your strength and what is your weaknesses?
Yes,
and
ma'am.
threat and opportunities external. What opportunities you have in the environment? जैसे as I told you कि आप बाइसिकल बेचना चाहते हैं, बनाना चाहते हैं, तो भाई उसका मार्केट है कि नहीं, लोग चाहते हैं कि नहीं चाहते हैं. आज मोबाइल का इतना डिमांड है तो मोबाइल प्रोड्यूस हो रहा है. बच्चे खेले ना खेले, हम मोबाइल से जरूर खेलेंगे क्योंकि डिमांड है. तो आपका थ्रेट क्या है, आपके कौन से कंपटीटर्स हैं, कोई उसका सब्स्टिट्यूट तो नहीं बेच रहा है कम दामों में. तो यू हैव टू सी ऑल दीज थिंग्स एंड देन ओनली यू कैन मूव अलोंग.
Types of decisions, program decisions made using a rule, procedure, or quantitative method, easy to computerize using traditional information systems. Example, how many workers to staff line A? What is the EOQ for raw material Z?
The program decision is when you are sure कि you have to go in this particular way. ऐसे ऐसे करना है. जैसे मान लीजिए मैथमेटिकल या क्वांटिटेटिव टेक्निक्स यूज करके हम बहुत कुछ निकाल लेते हैं, बट एवरीवेयर प्रोग्राम डिसीजन क्या होगा जरूरी नहीं है कि जो मैथमेटिक्स से आपने निकाला है वो होगा ही. तो देन यू यूज नॉन प्रोग्राम डिसीजंस. पढ़िए.
Non-program decisions that deals with unusual or exceptional situations, not easily quantifiable. Examples, what are the benefits of merging with XYZ? How will the consumer react if we raise the price by 10%?
तो ये सब चीजें तो आपको नहीं पता है कि एग्जैक्टली कैसे होगा. यदि आप कल को मर्ज करना चाहते हैं किसी से, तो वो मर्ज का रिजल्ट क्या होगा, अच्छा भी हो सकता है. बिकॉज इन फ्यूचर एवरीथिंग इज प्रोबेबिलिस्टिक, 100% नहीं है, मैथमेटिकल नहीं है. वी यूज प्रोबेबिलिटी, पर प्रोबेबिलिटी का भी जो वैल्यू है ना, वो तो हम लोग, क्योंकि हमेशा फेलियर और सक्सेस दोनों है, या तो फेल करेंगे या पास करेंगे. तो आपको ये तो पता नहीं है ना कि फेल कर गए तो फिर वो, यदि मान लीजिए 0.00% भी था तो कर तो गए फेल ना. So that uncertainty is always there in your non-programmed decision. Yes, continue.
Optimization, satisficing, and heuristic. Optimization models, a process that finds the best solution, usually the one that will best help the organization meet its goals.
Generally, these are mathematical. एक minute. जैसे हम लोग जैसे जैसे मान लीजिए कि आपको अपना प्रॉफिट मैक्सिमाइज करना है. सपोज प्रॉफिट को हम एक वैल्यू जेड दे रहे हैं, ये आपका ऑब्जेक्टिव है. प्रॉफिट डिपेंड करेगा. हम एक सिंपल सा एग्जांपल ले रहे हैं. अब दो सामान बना रहे हैं, चेयर्स एंड टेबल्स. एक चेयर का प्रॉफिट C1 है, C1 है, और कितनी चेयर्स बना रहे हैं आप नहीं जानते हैं. आप सपोज X1 चेयर्स बना रहे हैं. आप X1 चेयर्स बना रहे हैं, उसी तरह आप टेबल्स बना रहे हैं. सपोज एक टेबल का C2 प्रॉफिट है और आप X2 टेबल्स बना रहे हैं, तो ये आपका टोटल प्रॉफिट होगा कि नहीं. एक चेयर में आपको C1 प्रॉफिट मिला, एक टेबल में आपको C2 प्रॉफिट मिला. टोटल नंबर्स ऑफ चेयर्स है X1 और टोटल नंबर्स ऑफ टेबल्स है X2. तो इसको आपको मैक्सिमाइज करना है इस तरह से. मगर दिस विल बी अंडर सर्टेन कॉन्स्ट्रेंट. एज आई टोल्ड यू, मैनेजमेंट में हमेशा वी आर वर्किंग अंडर कॉन्स्ट्रेंट. मैनेजमेंट में क्या, दैट इज लाइफ. एवरी ऑल द रिसोर्सेज इज नॉट अनलिमिटेड कि आप जिसको चाहे जैसे काम करे होगा. आपको जो आपके कॉन्स्ट्रेंट्स है उसको देखना है. तो वी राइट इट लाइक दिस सच दैट सच दैट, मान लीजिए कि आपको दो तरह के आप रिसोर्स, ये वही सामान है जो वही रिसोर्सेज यूज करेंगे, इसीलिए हमने चेयर्स एंड टेबल्स लिया। चेयर्स एंड टेबल्स में एक ही तरह के रिसोर्सेज यूज होंगे ना, उसमें दोनों में लकड़ी चाहिए, दोनों में बढ़ी चाहिए, दोनों में कुछ इलेक्ट्रिसिटी चाहिए, जो भी है, तो हम दो अभी रिसोर्स ले रहे हैं। मान लीजिए एक चेयर को बनाने में आपको एक रिसोर्स का A11 यूज होता है, और एक टेबल को बनाने में A12 वो रिसोर्स यूज। मान लीजिए ये लकड़ी है और उसमें एक अपर लिमिट है, मान लीजिए आपके पास लकड़ी वॉल्यूम में ही लेंगे, इतने क्यूबिक फीट ऑफ लकड़ी है, तो वो जो भी है मान लीजिए उसको जो टोटल है आपके पास वो B है, B1 क्यूबिक फीट ऑफ लकड़ी है। तो जो भी आप बनाएंगे या तो उतना सारा का सारा यूज कर लेंगे या उससे कम यूज करेंगे। एक लकड़ी हुआ, एक मान लीजिए मैन आवर ले लें हम, आपके पास सपोज B2 मैन आवर है, तो इसके ये आपके इसमें आपको इस Z को मैक्सिमम करना है। तो इस ये जो सोल्यूशन आपका आएगा दैट इज नोन एज द ऑप्टिमल सोल्यूशन। यदि ये चेंज हो जाएगा तो आपका ये वैल्यू भी चेंज हो जाएगा, तो दिस इज नोन एज ऑप्टिमल सॉल्यूशन। उसमें एक और लेते हैं हम लोग, जो X1 और X2 टेबल और चेयर आप बनाएंगे, आइदर वो जीरो होगा, नहीं बनाएंगे, या बनाएंगे तो पॉजिटिव होगा, नेगेटिव तो आप नहीं बना सकते हैं। इसको सॉल्व करके हम एक वैल्यू निकाल सकते हैं Z का, विच विल बी द ऑप्टिमल। ये हमारा सिचुएशन है, तो हमें एक वैल्यू मिलेगी Z की, वो हमें बताएगी कि क्या मैक्सिमम प्रॉफिट हम निकाल सकते हैं। तो ये एक डिसीजन ले सकते हैं कि कितना चेयर बनाए, कितना टेबल बनाए। यदि मेरा डेटा है तभी हम ये कर सकते हैं। यदि A11 का वैल्यू पता है, A12 का वैल्यू पता है, B1 का वैल्यू पता है, C1 का वैल्यू पता है, C2 का वैल्यू पता है, X1 और X2 का तो वैल्यू नहीं पता है, वही तो पता है लगाना है, और उसको पता चल जाएगा तो हम Z की वैल्यू निकाल सकते हैं। तो हम बता सकते हैं कि हमारा कितना मैक्सिमम प्रॉफिट होगा, और ये भी कांस्टेंट रहेगा, या तो हम चेयर या टेबल बनाए या नहीं बनाए। यदि दोनों जीरो रहेगा तो नेचुरली मैक्सिमम प्रॉफिट तो जीरो ही हो जाएगा, बट दिस इज नोन एज द ऑप्टिमाइजेशन मॉडल। फिर दूसरा है सैटिस्फाइसिंग मॉडल। इसमें एक गुड रिजल्ट हम लोग निकालते हैं, मगर मे बी दैट इज नॉट द बेस्ट। यहाँ ये बेस्ट है ऑप्टिमाइजेशन में, दैट इज द बेस्ट रिजल्ट। यू स्टार्ट, इसको भी जब स्टार्ट जो हम करते हैं वो हम एक फीजिबल सोल्यूशन लेते हैं कि ये हो सकता है, और उसी को इम्प्रूव करते हैं। और उसमें है सैटिस्फाइसिंग मॉडल का, हम एक अच्छा सोल्यूशन निकाल लिए और ज्यादातर लोगों को पसंद है तो ठीक है, नहीं बेस्ट, शायद बेस्ट निकालने में बहुत तकलीफ हो रही है तो नहीं करेंगे। एक ह्यूरिस्टिक मॉडल है जो पुराने कैसे ये काम हुआ है वही चीज को हम फॉलो करते हैं। तो ऐसे भी डिसीजन लिए जा सकते हैं, माने ऑप्टिमाइजेशन का भी डिसीजन लिया जा सकता है, सैटिस्फाइसिंग का भी लिया जा सकता है, और ह्यूरिस्टिक का भी लिया जा सकता है। इज इट क्लियर? हेलो?
Yes,
मैम
ma'am.
सेकंड वन इज नॉट क्लियर, सेटिस्फाइसिंग मॉडल।
सैटिस्फाइसिंग ये है ना कि आपने सबसे बेस्ट नहीं लिया, उससे थोड़ा कम ही ले लिया,
ओके,
मगर इट इज
नियर टू।
नियर टू। ऑप्टिमाइजेशन में तो आपने बेस्ट लिया, आपने एकदम मैथमेटिकली उसको कैलकुलेट किया। ये थोड़ा डिस्कस करके चार चीज को देख कर देखा कि नहीं हो सकता है बेस्ट हो जाए, मगर अभी आप यू आर नॉट वेरी श्योर अबाउट इट। और ह्यूरिस्टिक जैसे कभी पुराने कैसे हुआ है उसी तरह से करते हैं। So these are the characteristics of MIS. now पढ़िए।
It should be based on a long-term planning. It should provide a holistic view of the dynamics and the structure of the organization. It should work as a complete and comprehensive system covering all interconnecting subsystems within the organization. It should be planned in a top-down way, as the decision makers or the management should actively take part and provide clear direction at the development stage of the MIS. It should be based on need of strategic, operational, and tactical information of managers of an organization. It should also take care of exceptional situations by reporting such situations. It should be able to make forecasts and estimates and generate advanced information, thus providing a competitive advantage. Decision makers can take action on the basis of such predictions. It should create linkage between all subsystems within the organization so that the decision makers can take the right decision based on an integrated view. It should allow easy flow of information through various subsystems, thus avoiding redundancy and duplicity of data. It should simplify the operations with as much practicability as possible. Although the MIS is an integrated, complete system, it should be made in such a flexible way that it could be easily split into smaller subsystems as and when required. A central database is the backbone of a well-built MIS.
तो यू कैन सी कि हम पूरे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को एक साथ लेके चलते हैं। जैसे हम एनी ह्यूमन और एनी लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म वर्क्स। अब आपने दवा लिया, वो सर दर्द का हो सकता है, पेट दर्द का हो सकता है। ये थोड़ी है कि पेट दर्द का दवा पेट में लिया और सर दर्द का दवा सर में डाला, तो दोनों खाते ही हैं, मगर द सिस्टम नोज कि उसको क्या करना है और कैसे ठीक करना है। तो टोटल इंटीग्रेशन होना चाहिए। हालांकि शुरू में ज्यादातर चीज स्टैंड अलोन थी, बट धीरे धीरे अब इंटीग्रेशन हो गया है। अब वी हैव कम टू अ स्टेज वेयर वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट एंटरप्राइज रिसोर्स प्लानिंग, जिसमें सारे फंक्शनल एरियाज जो हैं जैसे फाइनेंस हुआ, मार्केटिंग हुआ, ऑपरेशंस हुआ, या छोटे मोटे भी जो है, जो पूरे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को नहीं कवर करते हैं, रिसर्च एंड डिजाइन हुआ, प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजमेंट, सारे कुछ इंटीग्रेटेड। तो एक जगह इंफॉर्मेशन गैदर हो और इट हैज टू बी डिसिमिनेटेड थ्रू आउट द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, सबको पता होना चाहिए। धीरे धीरे अब डेटाबेसेस वैसे डेवलप हो गए हैं, एक मास्टर की है, उसको डालिए आप उस, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल इफ यू वांट टू नो एवरीथिंग अबाउट समवन, हमारे यहाँ बीएचयू में जैसा है कि यू गिव योर एम्प्लॉय नंबर, फिर आपके विषय में सब कुछ पता चल जाएगा, आपने कितने दिन छुट्टी ली, आप कितने दिन एब्सेंट रहे, आप कुछ मेडिकल बेनिफिट्स लिए हैं नहीं लिए हैं, सारा कुछ आपके बारे में, आपका क्या एजुकेशनल क्वालिफिकेशन है, जो भी है। पहले क्या होता था, जैसे बैंक्स में क्या होता है, किसी ने वो दो काम किया, कहीं से तो उसने एक एक विंडो से उसने कोई लोन लिया, दूसरे विंडो का उसका सेविंग अकाउंट है, अब दोनों अलग अलग अपना अपना डेटाबेस मेंटेन करते थे। अब वैसी बात नहीं है, एवरीथिंग इज इंटीग्रेटेड, एक सेंट्रल बैकबोन डेटाबेस का है, जिसमें सभी लोग जो भी उससे, देर आर चेक्स एंड बैलेंसेस, ऐसा नहीं है, उसमें भी चेक्स एंड बैलेंसेस है कि किस लेवल का लोग कितना, कितनी दूर तक वो डेटा को यूज कर सकते हैं, बट इट इज नाउ more easily accessible to everyone. जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल आप एक यूनिसेल्युलर एनिमल लीजिए, जैसे अमीबा है, बेसिक फंक्शंस तो वही है, रेस्पिरेटरी है, रिप्रोडक्शन है, एक्सक्रीटर है, ऑल दिस थिंग, जो बेसिक 5 फंक्शंस तो वही है। यदि मल्टी सेल्युलर एनिमल लीजिए जैसे ह्यूमन बीइंग, वो भी वही पांचों काम करते हैं, बट द सिस्टम इज वेरी कॉम्प्लेक्स, एंड फॉर दैट कॉम्प्लेक्स, टू डील विद दैट कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी, द सिस्टम हैज बीन डेवलप्ड इन सच अ वे। तो उसी तरह इंफॉर्मेशन सिस्टम भी है, एक ठेला वाला है, उसका भी मार्केटिंग भी हो रहा है, फाइनेंस भी हो रहा है, ऑपरेशंस भी हो रहा है, बट एक ही आदमी सब हैंडल कर ले रहा है। बट इफ इट इज अ मल्टीनेशनल, तो उसमें हजारों आदमी, तो उस जो इंफॉर्मेशन हैज टू बी, should be designed in such a way कि that whole thing is being governed properly, जिसको जो इंफॉर्मेशन जब चाहिए तब मिल सके, और करेक्ट इंफॉर्मेशन मिले और टाइमली इंफॉर्मेशन मिले। तो इंटीग्रेशन इज द बेसिक थिंग। हाँ, read it.
Components. MIS is a system that takes data as input, processes it to generate information that can help the management of an organization in decision making and strategic planning. Today, most organizations implement the MIS so as to achieve the organizational goals. Inputs. Yes, ma'am.
हाँ, वो पढ़ो.
Executives and staff, they are people who utilize MIS for decision making and routine operations. Software, computer programs which are designed to do a specific task or general task. Examples: MS Office, banking software, Google Classroom, railway software, shared software like decision support system, manufacturing resource planning, enterprise resource planning, etc. Hardware. The hardware component of MIS includes various devices that help in filling data as well as displaying the information when required. Example, laptop, scanners, printer, mobile, servers, etc. Organizational procedure. Procedures are set of rules or guidelines that an organization establishes For a use of a computer-based information system, the procedures may vary from one organization to another. It may also vary from one department to another as per the requirement. For example, the working of production department is different from the working of sales department. The production department requires information regarding the raw material or quantity of goods to be produced. So the production department sets its procedures in such a way that the MIS system helps in retrieving the information required by the department. In this similar way, the sales department requires information regarding the quantity of goods sold and the other expenses that occur during the sales the product. Therefore, the sales department sets the procedure in such a way that get only that information which is required from the MIS.
तो अब क्या इनपुट है? एनी सिस्टम इज व्हाट? इनपुट, प्रोसेसिंग एंड आउटपुट. तो यहाँ पर इनपुट क्या है? जो एग्जीक्यूटिव और स्टाफ काम कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि वही यूज करेंगे MIS. दे विल बी यूजिंग द इंफॉर्मेशन फॉर आइदर डिसीजन मेकिंग और फॉर देयर रूटीन वर्क. For everything they'll need information. Then what software? Because today we are talking about computerized information system. अब मैनुअली तो कोई काम कर नहीं रहा है, तो फॉर दैट यू नीड सॉफ्टवेयर. जो भी काम करना है आपको उस तरह का सॉफ्ट. इफ यू आर वर्किंग इन अ ऑफिस, नेचुरली यू विल बी रिक्वायरिंग MS ऑफिस. इफ यू आर वर्किंग इन अ बैंक, देन यू विल बी रिक्वायरिंग बैंकिंग सॉफ्टवेयर. उनका प्रोसीजर अलग अलग होता है, तो उस तरह से वो डिजाइन किया रहता है. जब डेवलप किया जाता है तो बोथ द ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल नॉलेज एंड द टेक्निकल नॉलेज आर टेकन इनटू कंसिडरेशन in developing that particular language for that particular people who will be using that information system. रेलवे का सॉफ्टवेयर अलग है, शेयर्ड सॉफ्टवेयर भी है, जैसे डिसीजन सपोर्ट सिस्टम है. इट टेक्स information from both, it uses both models as well as simulation, and unke through it makes predictions. It takes into consideration डिसीजन सपोर्ट सिस्टम हुआ, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग रिसोर्स प्लानिंग हुआ कि क्या क्या चाहिए आपको किसी चीज को मैन्युफैक्चर करने में, क्या क्या चाहिए, मार्केट का कंडीशन क्या है, फाइनेंस का कंडीशन क्या है, कहाँ वो सेल होगा, क्या आप प्रॉफिट बना सकते हैं, सारा कुछ मैन्युफैक्चरिंग रिसोर्स प्लानिंग में. और एंटरप्राइज रिसोर्स प्लानिंग तो हैज इंटीग्रेटेड एवरीथिंग टुगेदर. Your material requirement planning, your manufacturing requirement planning, and other things together. That is why they have been developed in modular form. पहले अलग अलग मॉड्यूल बनाया गया और फिर उनको इंटीग्रेट कर दिया गया. that way flexibility बनी रही. Then you will require different hardware. जो काम करना है तो किस पर करना है, लैपटॉप पर करना है कि सर्वर पर करना है कि नेटवर्क पर करना है. जैसा आपका काम रहेगा वैसा आपको हार्डवेयर की जरूरत पड़ेगी. फिर क्या प्रोसीजर यूज करेंगे, वो भी जिस तरह का काम रहेगा उस तरह का प्रोसीजर का यूज होगा. सेल्स डिपार्टमेंट अलग प्रोसीजर यूज करेगा, प्रोडक्शन डिपार्टमेंट अलग करेगा, बट प्रोसीजर इज देयर. इन जनरल एग्जीक्यूटिव स्टाफ्स आर देयर, इनपुट है, सॉफ्टवेयर इज इनपुट है, हार्डवेयर है और प्रोसीजर्स है. तो नेक्स्ट इज इन बिटवीन इट इज प्रोसेसिंग. क्योंकि जब इनपुट जो आपका है उसको फिर आप प्रोसेस करेंगे, देन ओनली यू विल गेट द आउटपुट. रीड इट. प्रोसेसिंग.
Manual and computer processing of data. Processing data includes converting the stored or fed data into the required information to take beneficial actions. Data processing includes mathematical and logical operations like calculations, sorting, classifying, and summarizing the data. The data processing signifies processing activities as organize data, analysis on data, apply statistical mathematical operations, to create predictive modeling, research, and forecasting. Information storage and retrieval. MIS stores data as an organizational record and processed for future use. The data organizes as a field, records, files, and databases for future use. Information retrieval compromises to access the stored data as per the requirement to the management users.
तो ये समझ में आया, प्रोसेसिंग में आप कैसे डेटा को प्रोसेस कर रहे हैं, उसको किस तरह से ऑर्गेनाइज करेंगे, कैसे एनालिसिस करेंगे, किस तरह से यदि कोई स्टैटिस्टिकल या मैथमेटिकल ऑपरेशन, जैसे हमने कहा ऑप्टिमाइजेशन टेक्निक में यू यूज स्टैटिस्टिकल एंड मैथमेटिकल मॉडल्स टू प्रेडिक्ट समथिंग, कि क्या कितने कंपोनेंट्स कितने पीसेस आपको प्रोड्यूस करना है सो दैट यू गेट द मैक्सिमम प्रॉफिट एंड आल्सो मिनिमम कॉस्ट. वो डुअल होता है. यदि प्रॉफिट मैक्सिमाइज होता है तो कॉस्ट ऑटोमेटिकली मिनिमाइज हो जाता है. फिर कहाँ आप डेटा को स्टोर करेंगे, एंड व्हेनेवर यू रिक्वायर दैट डेटा दैट इज अवेलेबल टू यू, तो यू कैन रिट्रीव द डेटा. आउटपुट क्या है, पढ़िए. हेलो हेलो.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Disseminating management information. Information of finished product service is categorized and dispersed to the users in an organization as per the needs. The result can be both in graphical and textual. This information could be periodic through reports or online through computer terminals.
तो क्या आपका आउटपुट क्या है, इतना जो किए आपने लगाया इनपुट प्रोसेस किए, तो उससे क्या मिला आपको. आपको जिसको जो इंफॉर्मेशन की जरूरत है, दैट इंफॉर्मेशन शुड रीच दैट पर्सन आइदर थ्रू रिपोर्ट या पीरियडिकली इट हैज टू बी सबमिटेड, और ऑनलाइन थ्रू कंप्यूटर नेटवर्क से चला जाए. जैसे आज आपके पास मोबाइल है तो आपके पास कितनी इंफॉर्मेशन आ जाते हैं, यू नो कि व्हाट इज हैपनिंग वेयर. फॉर एग्जांपल अब यूट्यूब से ही यू कम टू नो सो मेनी थिंग्स, and so many Instagram hai, so over there what you are getting processed data se aapko information mil raha hai, then you can take your decision accordingly. koi product ka hai to advertisement bhi wo kar rahe hain, that information is reaching you through the computer network, and then you can take the information accordingly. All the relevant data is there, kya price hoga, kya features hoga. This shows you डेटा कलेक्शन हुआ, प्रोसेसिंग हुआ, आउटपुट हुआ, और ये डेटा यहाँ स्टोरेज है, यहाँ से इंफॉर्मेशन रिट्रीवल. जो डेटा स्टोर्ड है वो भी जा सकता है प्रोसेसिंग के लिए, या यहाँ के प्रोसेसिंग के बाद आउटपुट में भी जा सकता है. Conclusion.
MIS with all its tools and techniques helps management at various levels to take decisions to improve the organization's performances and satisfy customer expectations.
तो ये सब इसीलिए हो रहा है कि ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का भी परफॉर्मेंस अच्छा हो और कस्टमर भी सेटिस्फाई रहे. यदि कस्टमर ही नहीं सेटिस्फाई रहेंगे तो कोई फायदा नहीं है. आपका सामान कितना भी अच्छा है, यदि कस्टमर उसको खरीद नहीं रहा है, या आपके सर्विस कितने भी अच्छे हैं, कस्टमर उसको नहीं अफोर्ड कर सकता या नहीं खरीद सकता, तो the cycle will not go on. So MIS is there so you can take good decisions, you can take things so that the organization can achieve its goals, and even the customer will be satisfied with what they are getting. Any questions? So this is all in your, that is just an introduction in MIS. ऐसे तो MIS का और बहुत सारे जो सॉफ्टवेयर है या है तो वो तो एक क्लास में खत्म नहीं किया जा सकता, बट आई हैव गिवन यू अ व्यू ऑफ व्हाट इज MIS. If you have any question, you can ask me.
No questions, ma'am.
Everything is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So should we conclude?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.